Whatever.
Hi Playmates, how are you? It's Aristar, and you guys were right! Figure Fantasy is proving to be a lot of fun for me. I personally like to look at figurines, just haven't collected them, so being able to do so in a game with a Toy Story, Pokemon, and Illusion Connect vibe is pretty awesome. And if the game is able to make me spend a few bucks within the first hours of gameplay, well, you know that game deserves some kind of recognition. I'll be adding Figure Fantasy into my Wednesday content rotation, so if you enjoy Gacha gaming content, please consider subscribing and checking in with me every Wednesday and weekends. I've been putting in several hours the last couple days, so if you haven't tried the game out yet, here's 3 reasons you should or should not consider downloading and starting your collection of online figurines on Figure Fantasy. So number 1, play if you like strategy, don't play if you want simple combat. If you like strategy or puzzle problem solving like games, you should definitely give this a try. If you prefer to play more hack and slash or turn-based games, Figure Fantasy won't be for you. There are 5 positions in Figure Fantasy with each a different attack pattern or style, and each stage has different enemy formations. It's up to you to set up your team prior to battle for victory based on the hero's strengths and affinities and the enemy lineup. Very similar to AFK Arena or Mobile Legends Adventure, but a little bit more so in my opinion. Most of the content you will play with auto battle, but some content like the Sacred Tour or the current Basilisk Trial event in particular requires more team setup strategy and timing in manual mode in order to clear each stage conditions. PvP will also require more thought in the setup to win both in the defense and offensive lineup, and will almost require you to grow several figures with different skills to get through. Now, I would have never thought myself to say this since I personally don't really like strategy games to begin with, but I do think so far Figure Fantasy has set up the game so it's not so challenging for gamers that are familiar with and have played different types of games. But if you're just kind of getting into gacha gaming or gaming in general, I do think this game may prove to be a challenge getting through all the different content available. That leads me to point number 2, which is play if you're in for the long-term achievement, don't play if you want short-term results. So you might be thinking, wait, but this is an idle gacha game, right? So I should get free stuff even if I'm not logged in, so what do you mean? Honestly, I think for any idle gacha game, the idle function itself tells you that this game has a very, and I mean a very long road ahead. Any game that gives you currency as you're offline means that there's going to be a long progression that will take into factor that players will get that free currency even as they're offline. Figure Fantasy falls into that category too, in that you still do need like multiples and multiple copies of each heroes in order to promote them to the next tier. You can't progress your heroes past certain levels until you promote them, and it will take a long time, and I mean like extremely long time just by idling to get there, or that or a lot of money to do the blind box pulls to pull enough heroes to do so. Not only in that aspect, but there are many different game modes to accomplish. This is not a bad thing for sure, but if you're a completionist, you're going to need to put a lot of time to go through all of that content. And to add the cherry on top, there is a pretty cute slice of life type story that's actually kind of funny if you look past like the translation issues and the lengthy and like super lengthy chatty cutscenes. But each chapter also has quite a lot of stages to get to the next. You won't be breezing through the chapters as fast as you think, especially if you're reading through the story. Many of the game content is gated by story levels, so you will have to put in several hours to unlock all the stages that the game has to offer. Lastly, play if you like anime style, don't play, well, if you don't. Although it's pretty obvious just by looking at the game, but if you're not really a fan of anime, you won't really like this game. The full ultimate scale animations are not that great compared to like, let's say Exo's Heroes or Epic 7. I personally think there's a good balance between the male, female, and non-human heroes to play with, but in general the designs themselves are standard anime-esque, so if you're not into that style, this game is gonna get old for you pretty fast. The 3D models of the figures are much better than the drawn 2D versions, and the fact that the 3D renders actually kind of look like the figures that you would buy at the store is a plus, especially when you start decorating your otaku zone wall, but then again, you will most likely need a compatible device in order to enjoy it to the fullest. I'll put in here also that compared to all of the content available, the UI is actually pretty nicely laid out in an aesthetically pleasing way, but there is a lot going on your screen, so if you like more simple layouts, you might get a headache from being on this game for too long. Well, there you have it, 3 reasons you should or should not play Figure Fantasy. Have you jumped in and tried it out? Will you consider playing it? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you like random gaming content, especially on mobile gacha games, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I post every Wednesday and weekends. Thank you all so much for watching, stay safe, and take care.